Councillor Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I want to carry on from the comments of the Honourable Phil Goff and just briefly underline really for the record the irony and the sort of bad taste that Part 2 leaves in the mouths of members on this side of the House, validating the most elementary Mickey Mouse mistakes that were made in the first round of amending legislation that created these problems. It's clear, I think, looking at Part 2, Section 9, one of the first things the chair of the Independent Hearings Panel did was extended the deadline for public submissions in early 2014. One of the very first things that he did. So what kind of thought was put into the amending legislation to set the original deadline for submissions? So how many submissions were accepted unlawfully? And how many were excluded? Possibly none, but it just makes a mockery of the whole process. So within... Well, I would like to hear from the Minister and the Chair. She's already offered one contribution. I think it would be the House deserves an explanation in the absence of select committee hearings. So that's the first issue, the validation around the closing date for submissions. Secondly, the concurrent hearing sessions. How many sessions were held concurrently and unlawfully? So this has been going on all year. They've heard thousands and thousands of cases, the independent hearings panels. And what this bill does now, under Section 9, 171, subsection 2, basically requires that any session has to be treated retrospectively as if it had been held in accordance with the provision to allow for concurrent hearings, and as if it had been chaired by someone who had been authorised as the chairperson. So that immediately raises the question, how many of these sessions were chaired by somebody, a member of the panel, who hadn't been lawfully authorised to chair those sessions? What a Mickey Mouse outfit. And I'm not blaming the Independent Hearings Panel. Why not? The Independent Hearings Panel are good, professional people of high calibre who have been put in the invidious position of operating within a legislative framework that was rushed and poorly thought through and shot full of holes, full of errors. And here we are, within 2 years, back in this House cleaning up the errors that were made then retrospectively. And of course, given that we're pushing this legislation through under urgency, no select committee process, I think we had a 40-second contribution from the Minister and the Chair. We haven't had any other than that very, very brief contribution from the Minister and the Chair. We've had no substantive input into this debate from government members and really no substantive contributions from the Minister. And we don't even have the Minister who's responsible for this legislation here for this debate. It's just... Order. It is just... Don't say that, I withdraw that. I apologise. I know that's against the standing orders. So those are the validations. The other main section in Schedule 2 are the consequential amendments. And Section 115 points back to Clause 5, which we have debated here, and it's consequential to the provisions that allow the hearing panels to make recommendations to the Independent Hearings Panel on the basis of a number of submissions on one particular topic, without waiting for all of the submissions and the evidence to be heard before they make their recommendations. And I just want to repeat, sir, we have real concerns about whether that will make for a piecemeal and incoherent consideration of what is a very complex set of interlocking issues that the panel will be considering. The others, Section 124, 148 and 150, they all, again, point back to the concerns that we raised under Clause 5.
Mr Chairman. I call Dr David Clark.